Hi, welcome to our Candidate Spotlight series, where we interview and introduce extraordinary professionals within STEM verticals. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. These individuals are mainly chosen for their industrial experience, niche skill sets, and most importantly, that they are open for new opportunities. So the idea behind these particular podcasts is to get the maximum exposure for these particular candidates in top of their CV. So to be seen and heard by the right pool of audience who can either utilize their experience to create opportunities or maybe for existing vacancies that they have been looking to fill. If the individual is actively looking out for an opportunity and wants the maximum exposure as possible, that means this particular video will be publicly available. So if the individual has chosen for a discrete program, that means this particular video is available only for a carefully selected group of contacts, which either Stemgenic will be sharing or the candidate will be sharing directly. And I'm Savvy, founder of Stemgenic, an executive search and a professional career consulting firm based here in Singapore. It's our 8th episode today, and we are going to be interviewing someone called Bennifer, who is an expert within the nutritional science area. She's a Singapore PR and she's based in Singapore, currently offering nutritional counseling programs. She has been in the corporate world previously, and in fact, she has had a major trouble getting back into the corporate world as her previous roles were contract. And by the time she became a PR, the market has also slowed down. And we hope this particular podcast gives her the opportunity to be heard and be seen by the right pool of audience. And hopefully, her experience can be of good value to a potential employer who's seeing this video. So let's get rolling. So, first of all, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity, Bennifer. Welcome to our candidate spotlight series. So, going into specifically your profile, Bennifer, the reason why I thought you might be a good candidate for this program is one, I know you have been on the lookout for quite some time. A lot, yeah. And Singapore is a very, very small market, and I know you knocked most of the doors. And I think I also, tried reaching out to quite some of my clients, and most of the time was like, "Hey, we know her; she's connected to us, and we don't really have anything suitable at this stage. Maybe something in future, that kind of thing, right?" And of course, that being said, you also running your own nutritional consulting service, right? So I'm sure you would love to be seen and heard by the industry, right? So that's where I was hoping this could actually add value. So let's just get started. And right now what I have on my screen is I have your LinkedIn profile and I also have your CV here. So let us just understand a little bit more about where you are right now before we, discuss more about your journey. What's your present situation and what's this AI and nutritional counseling all about?
Okay, so yeah, so the thing is, I have done this course from Nutrigenomics. It is this Nutrigenis, this company in Bangalore. So she is a very senior professor. She's finished a PhD from the UK, from Leeds University, and she runs her own business. At the same time, she does a lot of courses. For example, on nutrigenetics, nutrigenomics. So I have worked with her and I have done courses with her. So now she is now doing a lot of courses on AI as to how artificial intelligence can actually give you certain softwares which can help you make better and faster diet and diet therapies for consumers who are really looking
Right.
for very easy personalized plans. So I'm using the same kind of softwares now as trained by her to do the same for the community in Singapore.
Nice. And is this kind of like a startup company or it's a well-established player
Yes,
already?
it's a
Okay.
startup company.
Interesting, interesting. So you're doing this on a one-to-one personalized sort of an
Absolutely, one
arrangement.
on one basis as of now. Yeah, it's
And
not a
how's that
company
going?
really, it's more of a freelance. So,
Right,
but yeah, it's more of a startup as well.
right. So I'm guessing that's kind of keeping you fully booked. And
Yes.
what's busy like now?
So it's good, because I'm kind of teaming up with some companies also giving my regulatory kind of consultancy to them because I've done a lot of regulatory work with the past 12 years of my work experience. So, and when it comes to market research and market data and market reports also, so I help them kind of identify the target audience and how to kind of make the whole documentation. I help in that as well. So that is one aspect of the work I'm doing, and also about the clientele which I have. Small though, but yeah, keeps me
Right, right,
busy. Yeah.
right, right. So In regards to your professional journey, right? I think the best place to have a more like a starting line is always your educational background, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
maybe, can you help us understand what sort of, education background you come from and how did you step into the official sort of, career journey?
So I basically finished my master's in MSc in Foods and Nutrition in 2007. So since then, I have been completely into research
Right,
and scientific intelligence and regulations right from 2007. So first 3 years, I worked with the Government of India on scientific projects where with the Department of Science and Food Technology. And
right.
post that, I have been working with the corporates with GSK. Then there is PepsiCo. In Singapore, there is Abbott, Ferrero, and now I have my own personalized business really because of the job market scene wasn't doing that well when it comes to giving me an employment really. So I thought of doing something on my own in the meantime.
Was this particular pathway a pathway that you chose, or it just happened that, okay, this is sort of jobs that are actually available? What I'm trying to ask is how much of clarity did you actually have when you were doing your degree and your master's, and also the career pathway that comes with it?
I think I was not too clear. I just loved the subject because of which I studied that.
Right.
But once I did this project with the Government of India, I could do a lot of primary research with them because it's all about going in the field and getting the data. But once I joined the corporates, is really where I understand that how scientific intelligence and regulations comes into play. And that is so interesting for me that I said I just have to be in this line. And I think this is the most exciting place for me to be and to grow over here. So I stuck to that.
So PepsiCo, nutrition science manager, and prior to that, that was with GSK as an assistant manager,
Yes,
competitive and scientific intelligence.
yes,
So these
yes.
are the two major MNC experience
In
prior
India.
coming into Singapore.
Correct,
The
correct.
GSK one, can you help us understand what specific sort of market was it focusing on? Because GSK they have consumer health, they have the pharma. That's It's a massive business, right? So what was your scope there?
So my scope was really consumer healthcare over there, wherein I was since like a educational qualification in nutrition, I was handling all the nutritional assessment products for GSK, and we worked a lot on the different kind of energy drinks which GSK was launching at that point of time, both from a market research point of view and also about the formulations. So that is what I was really working on at that point of time.
And that particular move, from government-linked sort of, players all the way to a massive MNC, how did that move happen?
I was just floating across my CVs. That's like a basic, I think. Uh, we do that all the time. So I just got a call from there and I just went for a couple of 4, 5 rounds of interviews and I just got absorbed there. Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. And assistant manager, competitive and scientific intelligence, I would probably categorize that as consumer healthcare related
Yes.
food products, right? Food and
Yes.
beverages, I could say,
Right,
right?
right, right,
And
right.
then with PepsiCo, it was a nutritional science manager, and that was a
Yes.
very interesting experience. Can you explain what was that job all about?
So I'll tell you, I was very fortunate that PepsiCo absorbed me. And that again, it was in the newly formed nutrition division in PepsiCo R&D. So we
Right.
have product development, we have different, cross-functional teams are there. But nutrition team was the first team in which we were working very strongly with the regulatory affairs team. So when it comes to all the kind of product approvals, all the ingredients that go in the products was all basis on what the nutrition team gave to the company.
Right,
So
right, right.
it's a very niche role again, and it is
I
a
can
very
tell.
satisfying role. Yeah.
Can tell. And sometimes regulatory affairs, the word regulatory affairs also gets slightly overlapped,
Yes.
with
Yes.
what you have been doing as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes. That's
And you
right.
mentioned that in this particular instance, you were working with the regulatory team. So
Absolutely.
guessing there was a clear definition between both departments. But however, I have worked on a couple of, regulatory affairs positions, and I know sometimes it will have the nutritional element into
Yes,
it,
yes,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The smaller the company, the smaller the departments, sometimes it gets clustered in. So how about your exposure in the regulatory affairs area?
So my experience is I have handled a lot of food items When it comes to pharma, I have not done regulations for pharma, but for all foods and beverages, I have done strong regulatory environment I have worked in for. And in PepsiCo India, there was a lot of hue and cry about junk foods.
Right.
PepsiCo was being categorized as a junk food company at that point of time. So we worked strongly with the FSSAI documentation and draft formation. Yeah,
Right.
as to prove a point as to why PepsiCo is not a junk food company, though we
Fair
lost the
enough.
battle there. But yeah, we did work a lot to prove at a point that we are not a junk food company.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We are not going to get into any particular
Yeah.
trouble by putting this right.
Yeah, that's right.
Then how did the move happen to Singapore and then Nutrigenas
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you done
So my husband got a shift from India to Singapore. That's how I came with him. So I had completed a course with my teacher in Nutrigenes. I have finished like a advanced nutrigenomics course, and that's how I opened this startup of my own at that point of time.
right, and then
So it was
you
basically genetic assessment. So when the clients used to come to me for a certain kind of a disease, query they had. So I used to take their genetic samples, that's like the salivary sample, and send it to my certain genome partners in India for assessment. They will give me the entire assessment report. And based on the genetic constitution of that person, particularly, a personalized plan used to be made for that individual depending
right.
on what kind of food allergies and it's just anything and everything about that person you get to know in that.
Wow. So that was from 2016 all the way to 2021, is it?
No,
So there's
yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, yeah.
okay. So that was more of a more like a self-entrepreneurship
Yes,
consulting work.
absolutely. Yeah,
And then Abbott comes into the picture.
yes.
How was it, and what specific areas were you focusing on with Abbott?
So Abbott, I was working with the pediatric team, wherein I was handling Similac Virgo was my product I was handling completely, right from the formulation stage to the product launch.
Right.
And so, right, we were including HMOs in Similac Virgo, a higher
Right.
version of the HMOs, and a different kind of nutrition benefits with it, where cognition is very strongly demanded for, because Similac Virgo is specifically a nutritional feed for children out of C-section. And the
Right.
market we were launching was for in Cambodia and Vietnam. So,
Right.
keeping that market and the infants in mind, we made a formulation specifically for that kind of C-section babies.
Right. And I mean, this is a question out of curiosity. You were involved in the actual formulation work, or is it the formulation has been given to you and you are in charge of, extracting the so-called nutritional related
Yeah,
components
so
into
when
it?
it comes to formulation, I was involved in the scientific research and the exact dosage that goes in the product. The
Right.
work of actually mixing and doing the work in the labs is by the product development team.
Right.
But at this end, we were the somewhat blueprint, you can say, who would
Right.
make the formulation,
Right.
but the actual mixing, which will be done by the PD team. Yeah,
Right. And unfortunately, that was almost
it
a
was a
year, isn't
contract.
it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
it
year
was a contract.
contract. Yeah.
Right. And then
Ferrero.
Ferrero, Jockey.
Yeah, very interesting. I love it. It's the most amazing, I think, work there. And there I was a raw materials manager there. And so a lot of regulations work also used to go there because all the ingredients which were coming in the company had to pass a certain regulatory barrier.
Right.
And Singapore being a very strict and stringent company, we had to make sure that all the ingredients are under certain regulatory framework.
Right. And so your title was an official R&D specialist,
No, it was a raw materials
raw
manager.
material specialist.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when it comes to the elements of nutritional assessment or the nutritional part, was it completely different from your previous role, or was it a combination of both?
I think it's a combination because here the nutrition, for example, I was doing the product management and launch of even these millet biscuits there. And so to get the whole concept of millets in the Ferrero idea, the Ferrero Innovation Company, because India was strongly launching millets as a very strong grain at that point of time. So how we actually helped Ferrero, being a very luxury brand, launched millets low cost product in India at that point of time. So that was a very
Interesting.
interesting ingredient. And that had to actually pass through a lot of regulations also, because most of the
Mm,
millets were found in some low cost areas and some villages in south of India. So
right.
passing that through a regulatory norm in Singapore was not easy. Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, these things are quite strict and has to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially the entry here. So, and this in August 2023, unfortunately, that was almost a year, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Was this an official contract or this was a perm role?
Pardon, sorry,
The Ferrero, was it a contract role or was it a perm role?
is contract again.
That is also a contract.
Yeah.
So end of contract, and since then it has been a challenge to find an opportunity, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
I mean, genuinely speaking, what was the actual challenge? Like, from your perspective, now you have knocked all the doors, you have spoken to people as well. It's not like you never got any interviews. You had interviews, you spoke to people. What's the feedback like, and what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know, because at this point in time, I'm also very confused. I'm also wondering, my CV is so good and I have such a strong background, but still I'm not getting calls. So somewhere down the line, I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this in the recording or not. I do feel that a lot of roles in the market are based on reference. And a lot of roles are also internally sourced within the company. They put it on the career portal. I'm not saying they don't put, but they source it within the company. That is my feeling.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting perspective from the
I
candidate
might
side.
be wrong. I might be wrong, or maybe I need to add something more in my CV. I don't know. I'm also confused at this point of time.
Yeah, let's admit the elephant in the room, Bennifer, because when you've been, I think well, I did connect to you at that time itself, and I knew I mean, I don't think we spoke, but we were like connected, and you were following my jobs, and I was also
Yeah.
having a CV, right? There was a period where you did not have the PR in your profile. It was
Yes, that was
more
2020.
official. Exactly. So when you first entered the market, you were under the work visa, category, and then the PR magic happened, and then you had to re-enter the market with your PR. So these are two different phases altogether. And Singapore is it's a great place for foreign talents. There's
Yeah,
the
it's
employment pass
amazing. Yeah,
category, S pass category, and everything. There's always a first preference towards the local talents, and that's always the
absolutely.
truth, right? But once you become a PR, I think the market was also has changed quite a lot, right? I think we
Yes.
majority of my clients, right, especially in the food and nutrition space, Singapore, especially the ones who have got headcounts in Singapore, they have and they are and they will be, downsizing their operations as much as possible.
Correct.
Anything that can be outsourced to the neighboring country, if it is possible, they will definitely do it. They do prefer holding their senior leaders here. They do prefer holding anything that is, highly patented or any high R&D, those sort of, elements. But anything that can be outsourced is currently going through. And of course, with the AI and all these particular business transformation projects, a lot is actually happening. So I think
Correct.
it
Correct.
was more like two elements here. When you first entered the market, the work visa must have been a major hindrance.
Yeah,
And second thing, once
absolutely.
you became a PR, the industry has actually changed, and that is going through a
Correct.
lot. For
Absolutely.
example, a leader making a decision, let's just wait till the dust settles. That is already a decision, right?
Mhm.
Waiting is a decision right now by a lot of companies. That's all because of the present, changes, supply chain disruptions, everything, is playing a part. So your profile might be good. They may have a vacancy. Or should we just move this position to Philippines? Or
Correct.
should we just,
Correct. You're
keep it in
right.
Malaysia? That's the
Absolutely.
question. Whether they have moved, I don't know. They're still contemplating, they're still thinking through. But your time is taking. Maybe another competitor might just, give you an
Correct.
opportunity and you
Correct.
might
Because
go off.
this happened with three of the positions I was interviewed for. 5, 6 rounds finished, and I was extremely hopeful. 6 rounds is a lot of number of rounds for a company, and then no calls for a month, and all of us, I have the names. I don't want to name them now, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that the role has been dissolved." So that
Yeah.
is so frustrating, because after 6 rounds, you're like, I know I'm just going to join soon now. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, like, oh, I'm so sorry, the road is resolved now. We're looking for something else now. So that is
Yeah.
very, so it's happened twice, 2 to 3 times it's happened.
It's happening a lot in the market, Bennifer. I think it started sometime late last year, and this year it has always been similar. And we as recruiters, we work on a lot of senior assignments, and especially for senior opportunities, I do see that this is happening quite a lot. And that's where we try to get a very much more detailed picture right from a start, right? Even before we initiate the search, we try to provide them a market map. At least they will know if they go down this route, this is where they're going to really end up. So
Correct.
versus, doing a search, interviewing candidates, and then finally deciding, oh, let's just move this role to somewhere else. And that's
Correct.
total waste of everyone's time, right?
Correct.
If we really look at, your expertise and, what sort of, background you come from, there are companies and there will be companies in Singapore who will have a space for this. The question is, what's how do they actually see this from a bigger perspective? Let's say if the company is only Singapore focused, the bandwidth is not going to be enough to bring someone like you on board. But if it's a regional player where you are able to value add to the projects in the region, that's a different ball game, and that may be some justification of putting you into the spotlight. So I would suggest quickly summarizing a little bit more on your capability here, Perifa. So suitable positions where your profile might be a good match. So obviously anything that is got to do with any nutritional related science sort of jobs. So that's number one. Regulatory affairs. How competent will that be, especially for food domain?
No, very competitive, I feel. It would be. Because I
So
think, yeah, carry on.
no, go ahead.
So I think because any product going in the market has to first, I mean, has to pass the nutritional assessment, with the new food grading, which has come in every product in Singapore. And regulations also goes hand in hand. So they can't be two separate, parts to the same product. It has to be hand in hand all the time.
Right, right. So regulatory affairs, and that of course, also goes closely with food safety and toxicology related,
Correct.
elements. So that could be another tier to look into. And in regards to the industries, or I mean, industries obviously, food specialties and nutrition, but specific markets that you have worked on, I can see consumer healthcare is one.
Correct.
And within that, obviously, food and beverage, both sides, right? Solid foods
Yeah,
and
yeah,
beverage.
yeah. No, both.
And what else can we, add to your profile here?
I think, see, cross-functional work, there is a lot. It happens in every company. And then I think AI-driven work as well, with the current, which I'm doing for the past 1.5 years now. A lot of AI-driven stuff is there. And when it comes to, I think, scientific intelligence and a lot of nutrition science and research works, which has strongly been my forte for the past 12 years.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And in regards to your overall regional knowledge, correct? So India, definitely no questions on that. That's a no-brainer. Outside India, let's look at Southeast Asia, maybe wider APAC. Which particular countries do you have the knowledge and experience working on projects with?
I think China.
Okay.
With Ferrero, I worked a lot on China products. China regulations is also very difficult. It's not easy to get in the market. And Cambodia, because I worked for Abbott for Cambodia. Fairly simple. India is a tough market as well. That's about
Okay.
it.
Okay. All right. And so let's just, go from a career journey angle now. So someone following your footpath, and there are loads of graduates going down the food science, nutrition sort of, pathway. Even myself, sometimes I did biomedical sciences, by the way,
Oh, wow.
but I used to think, I should have done something more on food science or technology. That has also been my interest later down after doing my degree. I kind of like I should have done that, right? What are your thoughts, or what is your advice for someone looking at this video, going through the same career education pathway as you?
I think it's very interesting. And if you enjoy the work you're doing, there's nothing better than that. And I think once you enjoy what you're doing, you work more and deeper into it. And I think it's a great line to work in.
And what about the career opportunities? Because you have chosen the consulting, the so-called R&D arm of it, right?
Yeah.
What other career pathways do you think that can be stemmed from this particular pathway? like careers like commercial? Do you think people can also go into commercial?
They can go into commercial, but the thing is, to going into commercial, you need to get an MBA at hand, a master's in marketing, or yeah, marketing makes sense. Because if you want to get into commercial, then you need to have a strong foothold into commercial science as well. That's your marketing
Right.
strategy science, which you need to understand not only through experience, but also through education.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So commercial R&D, quite established paths, and of course, with an MBA. Anything else these kind of candidates could do from their side?
I think corporates is a great opportunity to work for, and you can have your own business, which I am doing at present. But the only thing is getting a very strong foothold in this requires a lot of patience and perseverance. And a
I
lot of
see.
social media these days is doing a lot of work. You might get a lot of likes on your page, but that doesn't mean you're doing great. That's the so I think going in the corporates makes more sense to me.
Right. Fair enough. But is there enough bandwidth in the corporate side to,
No.
because if you just look at the number of graduates who graduate every year in this particular pathways and how many of them actually enter the big corporates, it's going to be a
Yeah.
certain percentage. So the number of jobs are mostly going to be limited within the R&D side, isn't it? Or maybe to a certain extent on clinical or anything on
Yeah.
clinical research, related side as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, but the opportunities are not that much.
Okay, fair
There are
enough,
more
fair enough.
opportunities with a management degree at hand
Right,
than just a science degree, for sure.
fair enough. And what about hospitals? I'm sure hospital has a specific nutritional arm to help patients go through. I mean, for example, someone with IBD, Crohn's disease or ulcerative
Yeah.
colitis, those kind of
So for
things.
hospitals, you need to be a registered dietitian or a registered nutritionist with the government of that particular country. So in Singapore, there is no registration per se, just a degree is enough. And then experience in hospitals, which makes you get a better opportunity in a different hospital and a bigger role. But specifically in a lot of countries globally, for example, US and India, you need to be a registered dietitian. You need to pass a certain certification, a degree to be called, like all of us have done that course. Like being a dietetics, it's a part of nutrition course. But being a
Right.
certified dietitian, who can work specifically on patients in hospitals or admitted or ICU patients, you need a certification from that. But that's not in Singapore, doesn't work like that. It's different.
I
It's different.
see.
Every country has their own regulations.
Right. Interesting. So that is also something you can also become a dietitian professionally using this pathway, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Got it. So,
And actually doing a PhD also in nutrition sciences is a great idea
mhm.
to, work and get a bigger role in corporates.
Okay. And when you say bigger role, how big can it actually get?
Director of the entire company in terms of R&D.
I
Not the
see.
company, because that's going to be commercial, the whole company, but that
Right.
segment, for example, director of nutritional sciences, or that particular segment, you can actually go to the top.
Right. So, okay, so that's typical academic sort of,
Yes.
pathway, isn't
Correct.
it?
Right.
Got it. So Bennifer, lastly, I wanted to check a little bit more on your preference now, right? You're still open for opportunities in the corporate area.
Absolutely.
And this video is going to be seen by, specific target audience. And what is it that you would want them to know about your preference and your capability?
So my preference certainly would be in the corporates, because I love the whole atmosphere of a corporate life, the cross-functional teamwork, and because in a single setup, you wear all the hats, but in a corporate setup, there's a complete mixture of different segments of work, and then there is a hierarchy set up. There is some kind of a motivation for me to kind of do better and better. In startup also there is, but I think in corporates I feel more competitive there. So
Right.
yes, yeah, that is
And
something I would prefer.
you are a PR now.
Yes, for a long
And
time.
okay, and definitely you do see a long-term career in Singapore, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Got it. What about overseas opportunities? Are you open for those?
Yes, absolutely open for those. In Middle East, absolutely open. Middle East, Malaysia, Philippines. Yeah.
Anything else you would like to share, or any advice, or anything that we have missed?
I don't think we've missed anything really.
Zipper. I will also work. Whoever has seen your CV and they have not really seen you as a person, they don't know how you sound, how you're able to express yourself.
Right.
This video could be an extra layer of information that they can
Sure.
look into. And there's no recruitment fee or anything associated with this, so the clients can reach out to you directly. All I will be interested in is how much of conversion is actually happening, and is it really making an impact in someone's
Difference. Correct,
life,
correct.
right? So that's what this is all about. Any questions or anything you want to clarify at this stage?
No, right now nothing is in my mind.
All right, then enjoy the nice evening. Then it's a nice weekend coming up as well, and I will keep you posted on the developments for this. Okay.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bennifer. Bye
See you.
bye.
Bye. Bye.